On one side of this are the hereditary chiefs, and on the other side are the elected band council chiefs. The former is who signed the agreement with Ottawa just this week. It was called a Memorandum of Understanding. Why is this creating tension?
Mainly because it's illustrating a power struggle between democratically elected band councils, which are 5 in number, versus 5 hereditary chiefs. And it's been a struggle that's been happening for the past year, ever since the pipeline discussions and agreements had been signed after being negotiated for a number of years with elected band councils and their band members.
Remind Canadians why the government chose to go with the hereditary chiefs with this Memorandum of Understanding and not with the elected band council chiefs.
You know, that is the billion-dollar question. In a country like Canada that is actually elects its leaders under democratically decided upon processes, the BC government, as well as the federal government, chose to go with negotiating with a monarchy-style government. I cannot understand myself why they did this and excluded not only the democratically elected band councils, 5 of them, but also excluded their band members from 5 separate communities. I have no idea, apart from maybe they want to resolve the blockade issue, but this memorandum of understanding has nothing to do with blockades or the LNG pipeline in question.
Yeah, and just to update Canadians, the agreement commits Canada and BC to recognize that rights and titles are held by house groups within the Wetsuweten Nation under their system of governance. You also have concerns about this agreement. Can you expand on that for us?
You know, rights and title is a complex, complicated, costly topic. It's been a topic of discussion here for decades. And you see 2 examples. You see the reconciled title, which is under the BC treaty process, that has taken hundreds of millions of dollars to resolve, and it hasn't really resolved any except for a few agreements. But then also you have the Chilcotin title case, which actually decided in the courts of BC and Canada that actually took about 10 years and $20 million. But Canadian citizens have no idea how complex and how this might touch their lives in terms of right-of-ways, highways, legislation, lawmaking. There's a number of different areas that title discussion can take.
Yeah, the core issue of the flare-up again in tensions comes from the unresolved questions that stem from the Indian Act around which chiefs have jurisdiction over what. How can this issue be resolved?
You know, in certain cases, it has been resolved. In certain cases, this question came up a number of times over the last few decades, and a number of times in specific issues, First Nations have had to go to court to decide who has jurisdiction in specific instances. And it all depends on the history of the First Nation in terms of its leadership structure. And every First Nation, there's 203 bands in BC, every First Nation has a different leadership structure. Some are elected, some are hereditary, some are hybrids. But in this case here, Canada chose to go with to get involved with a leadership fight and side with hereditary leadership instead of allowing the communities themselves to decide for themselves. Okay, what kind of leadership structure do we have?
Mr. Ross, I want to thank you for coming on your morning today to remind Canadians where we're at, where this situation stands, and where it could go from here. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.